Hello and welcome to episode 496 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan. I am one of the co-founders here at ETR, and we are coming off of a play well and lose kind of week. I think that whole concept can be hard for people outside of our bubble, people who don't really play seriously, quote unquote, normies, if you will. It can be tough for them to understand this whole concept, the idea that I actually don't think I would change a single thing about what I played on Sunday, but I still lost, or the idea that you can play well or haven't played well on some slates and still smashed. It's a tough thing to get your head around if you're not exposed to variance a lot. But look, why do I think that I played well even though I lost? Well, Nico Collins, even if he didn't get that late garbage time touchdown, he was a really good play. I mean, 10 targets at 4,200 for a guy with any talent at all. That's always going to be good. Even if his quarterback is Kyle Allen, it's going to be good. 10 targets at 4,200. And it's impossible to know how well Kenneth Walker would have performed if he didn't get hurt early in that game against the Rams. But I think prioritizing him over Travis Etienne was right. Austin Eckler in a game Justin Herbert throws it 47 times and the Chargers get off 74 plays against the Raiders. I think even in hindsight, that was right, even though he only scored 14 and a half DraftKings points. So it's not excuses. It's just the variance that comes with one NFL game. And, there's more recent examples of this. Sometimes it works out well for me, like Travis Etienne, if not for the injury worry, which I'll talk about here in a second, I would have played Travis Etienne almost certainly. His foot turns out to be fine. He still failed, so that was some variance on the good side of me. On the bad side, in week 12, I played Devontae Adams against the Seahawks in cash over a running back. And Devontae Adams found his floor, 774-0 in a game that went to overtime and the Raiders scored 34 points. The next week, like I just said, I have Eckler as my big spend in the lineup. He fails, but Devontae Adams in a very similar spot against the Chargers this time, he breaks the slate, So it's just all part of the game. And for sure, variance has broken my way for much of this season. I think the Kenneth Walker injury is really the first one all year that's hurt me. And I've also made some mistakes for sure this year in some weeks and still won, variance on the good side. And the mistakes are typically, in the form of usage, not going as I expected, but players still getting there or guys that I'm consistently on, consistently hitting the 90th percentile outcome. That's another form of variance going my way. So I think it's just good to recognize this stuff so that each week we can evaluate our play based on process and usage, not just results. And this week, like I said, even though I didn't win, I think I played well. Along those lines, I think the Jamal Williams stuff is another good example. I mean, in order for Jamal Williams to hit on any given week, he literally needs to get the ball on the 1 or 2 yard line. He has no pass game role. He loses work to DeAndre Swift and Justin Jackson. Jamal Williams is not explosive. I love the guy, but it's just the truth. But despite all that, he's been the absolute nuts and best ball and a season-long asset because he has 8 touchdowns from the 1 yard line and 2 more from the 2 yard line. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Someone on the Lions, it seems like, is getting knocked out at the 1 yard line every single week. I can't tell you how many times I've been tilting my face off because Amon-Ra St. Brown gets knocked out at the 1 yard line. Here comes Jamal, PI in the end zone. Here comes Jamal. It's just so tilting. But, that's another form of variance. Like, are your teammates getting knocked out at the 1 yard line? Are they drawing pass interference on the end zone? Oh, one more thing on cash from this past week. So I thought a big part of the week 13 slate was understanding and handling the guys playing hurt. And to me, that was Travis Etienne, who had the foot scare in week 12, Josh Jacobs with his calf muscle thing, and Zay Jones, who got no full practices in last week due to the chest and ribs injury that he's dealing with. Obviously, for season long, this stuff is a no-brainer. Like, your guys are active, they're good players, you play them. But in DFS, we have access to the entire player pool. So on Travis Etienne, is it worth the risk? Dude had a Liz Frank injury on the same foot last year that he had the scare on in week 12. I get that he seems fine. Team isn't worried. Player isn't worried. Coaches aren't worried. But maybe there's like a 5% chance they limit him. Maybe, in that case, he only plays 60% of the snaps. Maybe there's another 5% chance that he aggravates the injury. Maybe there's a 2 to 3% chance that he doesn't aggravate it, but he gets a little scared on it and they pull him. And if you add up all those small chances, there's just no way I thought that Etienne was worth playing over Kenneth Walker when he's only 600 less. The Jacobs thing, maybe I was too scared there. I mean, the calf thing clearly wasn't an issue last week, but it's still there. The calf thing, there was still a bunch of talk about it all week. He didn't practice a ton. So I thought Jacobs and Austin Eckler were really close, even adjusted for cost. The calf thing, yeah, it's like 95% to be fine. But I thought there was 5% there that the calf thing wasn't fine, could get aggravated, whatever. And that was enough for me to swing it. So I don't know. Maybe in hindsight, that one wasn't great. Zay Jones, though, I mean, $5,000 on DraftKings.com for Zay Jones, who, by the way, I know we joke a lot. I mean, Zay Jones has been one of the worst wide receivers in the NFL over the last few years by almost any metric. I mean, I'm looking for reasons not to pay 4,900 for Zay Jones. So he has an injury, this rib or chest thing or whatever. No full practices. On Sunday, we didn't have any early news. No one tweeted like, "Oh, Zay Jones is fine. He's playing." Normally, that stuff when it's good on Saturday. Gets reported overnight on the Schefter Bombs, rap sheet, whatever. There was nothing on Zay Jones. So I decided it just, wasn't worth it. I was just going to get off Zay at all costs. Maybe if he was 3K or 3,500, it's worth the risk, but not at 4,900. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting part of the week. As for tournaments in week 13, I had 5 GPP Bro teams this week. And I actually did something that I really rarely ever do, which is I played the same game stack on all 5. I had 3 Joe Burrow stacks and 2 Patrick Mahomes stacks, but all of them were KC Cincinnati game stacks. I just thought the upside on this game was wild. I was expecting both teams to be among the slate leaders in pass rate over expectation. Both secondaries can be beat. Both teams keep their foot on the gas. Both teams have explosive players. Thought 70 plus points in the game. Like that obviously wasn't the likeliest outcome, but I thought 70 plus points total in this game was way more likely than the field was playing it. So I thought I got some pretty good ownership percentages. Mahomes 7%, MVS 4%, Kelsey 19%, T Higgins 12%, Hayden Hurst 9%. Noah Gray, I slipped in there 0.1%. Give me my GPP Bro card. Not money, but of course, but GPP Bro card. Tyler Boyd 3%. I thought was really good. Juju 8%. Jamar Chase 14%. So I actually feel really good about it. It didn't work out. I bricked all 5, and maybe I should have swapped off some of it after the Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra went off early. They were so owned, and maybe I needed more leverage than the KC Bengals game provided. But maybe that was a mistake. But generally, given how often the field played it, I still think that I like the way I played the KC Cincinnati game. Want to give a shout out to Dink, who got 3rd in the smaller 555 this week. He had Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Treylon Burks game stack. So Jalen Hurts was 6%, AJ Brown 11%, Treylon 4%. The revenge stuff. I know everybody's talking about the AJ Brown revenge stuff last week. I just thought AJ Brown was a good play, period. The revenge stuff, it's hard for me in the NFL. In the NBA, I can kind of buy it, right? You can get more shots up in the NBA if you're like angry at who you're playing. You can. I mean, you can just shoot the ball more when you get it. Maybe your teammates will try to get you the ball more. That can happen in an NBA regular season game. They don't mean that much. In the NFL, I really struggle with the revenge game stuff. Like AJ Brown made this absurd catch over the DB's back. Like he was quote unquote trying really hard. He's trying to do that every week. You think he's trying extra hard and that makes a difference in whether he catches that touchdown? I don't know, man. Do you think they threw it more to him? They're trying to win the game. I mean, this is a big game. This is the NFL. Like every game matters a ton. So I struggle with the revenge stuff. I remember there was one revenge spot a long time ago, maybe 2014, 2015, maybe 2016. I really don't remember, but it was Steve Smith's first game back against the Panthers. And everyone's playing him because it was like, oh, Steve Smith, he's making a big deal out of this revenge stuff. And he got there. I don't even remember exactly, but I remember one play where it bounced off the defender and he happened to catch it, some crazy 70-yard touchdown. That was a total fluke. It had nothing to do with the revenge. It was just total fluke. I don't know. Anyways, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts at 6%, 11%. Treylon Burks at 4% was obviously awesome. Regardless, Titans are certainly a pass funnel. AJ Brown is such an alpha. Dink ate some chalk in this lineup with Samaje Perine 36%, Garrett Wilson 40%, Nico 24%, all very, very good cash plays, but he balanced that out with Christian McCaffrey at 7%. No Elijah Mitchell was a little bit of fragility how San Francisco was going to play it. They ended up going to a ton of CMC, so to get him 7% was crazy. Evan Ingram, good leverage off Harrison Bryant, and also Evan Ingram, good leverage off of the Christian Kirk, Zay, ETN really owned stuff. And then also Dink played Raiders D at 3%. I would have loved to get off the Titans. I didn't, in the team that I played, I didn't see a way to do it. But Raiders, not a great defense, but the Chargers have shown an ability to drop it back a ton. And so anytime a team's doing that and the Raiders are favored, and they're 2,500, they can get a lead. I mean, Raiders were a great play at 3%. There's no doubt about that. So great team here. Congrats to Dink on the big score. All right. Need to get to the listener questions, but before I do, I want to remind everyone with Maryland and Ohio coming online, newly online with legal mobile sports betting, you would have to be really insane and hate money to not be bonus whoring. I mean, really in any state. I have money on 10 to 20 books at any time, just so I make sure I always get the best line when I make a bet. And also because all of those books literally paid me to sign up for them through bonus offers. So go to establishedrun.com/offers. You'll see the best sign up bonus offers for each site by state. All right, enough is enough. Let's get to everyone's favorite portion of the program, the listener questions. Producer Luke, hit the theme music. All right, clearing out the inbox here. Going to do 7 today. We'll ask for new questions next week, probably on Monday. So stay tuned to Twitter for that at Adam Levitan. I ask for questions on there. You can reply and get your question in. Question 1 from Van Animals. He says, I proposed to my longtime girlfriend in the spring, and we've recently started our wedding planning. The budget we're discussing borders on absurd, but that really seems to be the way things go in this industry. What is the optimal play with regard to pricing, planning, etc.? Yeah, Van, I mean, the whole wedding industry thing is so absurd. The truth is that they have you by the balls, man. I mean, they know it's one of the most important days of your life. A ton of people, who are getting married, they've been dreaming about this day since they were little. Money is secondary when people are thinking about this. Oh, you mean it costs $1,500 for a fucking flower? Yeah, sure, no problem. This dress is $8,000. It looks exactly the same as the one that cost $500, but yeah, whatever. You got me. So on the one hand, you're for sure getting gouged, and that doesn't feel good. There's no doubt. But on the other hand, it's your wedding. I don't know. Maybe that's something that's worth getting gouged for. You're hopefully only going to do it once. It's a big time team smell the roses moment. So yeah, spending a ton on one night is probably bad, but I would also take into consideration this just isn't any night. Also, I'm not really sure on optimal gift giving for a wedding. I'm so terrible at giving actual gifts. I usually just default to writing a check. But then the question becomes, how much do you give? I always thought, and maybe this is wrong, I always thought I should simply try to cover how much it costs. In other words, let's say you think that the event costs $200 a person. If me and my wife go, then I write the check for $400. I just never want to hand out from anyone. I want to be sure that I pay my share. So I don't know, Van. I have no idea what other people do for gifts, but if you invite me, you'll be unstuck. You're not gonna be down any money on me, Van. Question 2 from Rob. He says, mobile sports betting is opening up in Maryland soon. I play DFS a bunch, but I'm planning to bet casually, mainly for fun. What do you recommend? 4 and 5 game parlays, anytime touchdown scorer bets, golf/NASCAR winners. He says spread and money line bets seem too tough for casual like me. So this really depends on what you consider fun, Rob. For me, I am sick and deranged. I can't have fun just blasting it off knowing that I'm getting in bad. That's never fun for me. In fact, it makes me physically ill. I can't just have fun, quote unquote fun, playing roulette or blackjack or really, any of these carnival games that are in sports books. And by carnival game, I mean something where the effective juice is so massive, like you can't win, you're not winning. Now, of course, most humans are not wired like a deranged individual like me. They love to just try to turn a little bit of money into a lot. I mean, that's all they want to do, even if they know it's negative EV, even if they know they're losing in the long run, even if they know it's an infinitesimal chance they'll ever actually turn a little bit of money into a lot, they want to do it so bad. It's like so you're saying there's a chance bit from Dumb and Dumber. The lottery is insanely popular. Single game parlays are like the most popular thing in betting apps, and all that's totally cool. I understand. It actually strikes me as I can understand why it's fun. Take $20, try to turn it into 10K every NFL Sunday forever. Honestly, that does sound fun. It's relaxing. It's no stress. You lose the 20, no big deal. I personally, though, just can't do that. I need my DOTL. I need my dick on the line to feel alive. So look, man, it depends what your goals are. If you want to lose the least, actually spreads and ML bets and money line bets, mostly spreads, I think, close to lock are your best bet. Spreads close to lock, you'll lose the least amount. You'll probably lose like 5%. That's what the effective juice is, roughly on -110 on both sides. But you'll never have that feeling of almost turning in a little into a lot. So I'm sorry, I don't have a great answer here, Rob. I think you're ahead of the game in the first place because you understand you're casual. You're just doing, betting for fun. That's a great first step. Not enough people know their goals, what they're trying to do. So I don't know, Rob. I think what I'd recommend is getting money on maybe 3 books, find some long shots that you like, maybe a golf outright, maybe an awards future in the NFL. Who knows? But just make sure you find the best line across those 3 books. And hopefully you're not getting it in too bad and you have some fun and just bet a little bit of money. It's an entertainment thing. Question 3 from Money Mariota. He says, my fiance and I just got a new puppy 2 weeks ago. The puppy hates her crate, which is in our room, and whines until we let her in bed with us. Is this worse than letting your child sleep in the bed like Leone does? Well, Money Mariota, nothing is worse than what Leone did. Nothing. So you're safe there. But I'd actually say, in fact, I don't think you're doing anything wrong here. I also could not lock Jerry in her crate. She cried the whole time. She hated it so much. I just couldn't. But like I said, I really don't mind. I want to sleep with my dog. I don't want to sleep with the kids. I want to sleep with my dog. It's just perspective, man. Every year I do that cage match thing with Smiz. We play that the loser has to donate to the other person's charity. And Smiz, of course, is a good human. His charity is No Kid Hungry, I think it's called. The goal is to get underprivileged kids food. My charity, of course, is a dog shelter. Because let's be honest, I prefer dogs to humans. And so every year Al says, yeah, that's great. It's a good cause, but it's a dog. And my response is always, yeah, exactly. It's a dog. They're the best. And so I'm half joking, but it's just a different perspective. And so when it comes to spoiling your dog or boundaries with dogs, there's no limits for me. I mean, dog just gives. All the dog wants to do is be with you and love you. Nothing else. There's no taking. There's no take. So yeah, Money Mariota, you get that dog in your bed, you remove your shirt, full chest hair exposed, you press that beautiful beast against your chest for the skin to fur as you sleep, There's nothing like it. Question 4 from Sam. He says, what do you think the long-term future of the NFL looks like? Do you think further research of brain trauma suffered by players will eventually end the game despite its wild profitability? Well, I would say nothing lasts forever, Sam. I mean, nothing, empires, businesses, political families, sports leagues, everything is cyclical. I mean, baseball was the biggest game in America not that long ago. Chariot racing, bullfighting, boxing. I mean, I'm sure there's people in medieval times that couldn't even envision a world where fucking jousting wasn't everything. And, let's be honest, professional football isn't even that old. I mean, I think 1920 was the first ever professional league. So only 100 years. The Super Bowl era is only 55 or 60 years old. That's nothing. That's not even a lifetime. So in other words, yes, I do think in the future, hundreds of years from now, probably, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. But the NFL won't be king at some point. I don't think. It's just so hard to stay on top. And maybe the player safety thing will be part of it. I mean, shit, it's hard to watch stuff like the Traylon Burks thing from this past weekend. I mean, dude just looks like he's dead out there after catching a touchdown. It's hard. And there's certainly like some guilt that we are just sitting here like getting me entertained by these guys risking their mind and their body. But I really do believe in free will. I think / hope that all the players know what they're getting themselves into when they step on the field. And if that's the case, who are we to stop it? I mean, I think it's fucking insane what Alex Honnold does with the free solo stuff, climbing mountains without a rope. But it's not on me to tell him what risks he can or can't take with his life. That's on him. So we'll see. Obviously, the NFL isn't going anywhere now or in the near future. I'm sure I'll be long gone before some other sport overtakes it. It's just too ingrained right now. It's not just a sport. I mean, it's like a literal fabric of society. People build their whole lives around their football team and the tailgate and going to games and going to away games, college, pro. It's just so big. Question 5. This was an anonymous DM. Question 5 says, solo pod question. I've been with my wife for 23 years. I have 3 kids, 3 boys, thank Christ. But at what point do you just let your wife do whatever crazy ass shit she wants? Wife is talking about grounding ourselves. We indulge in the medical tree every evening, and she brought this up. Apparently, you run a wire from your bed mattress outside to a copper tube in the ground. The magnetic, bullshit or whatever, from the earth is supposed to help with negative energy. She explained it as to when you're sleeping, the negative energy gets grounded when you're sleeping. For fuck's sake, I got to draw the line here. What are your feelings of this grounded? And at what point do you tell your wife to pump the brakes on her shenanigans? Yeah, good question. Sounds like some hippie shit to me, which, by the way, I'm kind of into. I mean, you got to be one with Mother Earth, one with nature, bro. And I think some mushrooms and some grounding, some grounding wire from your bed to the ground, that sounds like a great night. Which, by the way, I got a bunch of responses to the thing last week I did on the 5 best feelings in the world. And one guy actually wrote in and said that his number one best feeling in the world was coming while shrooming, which I only think I've experienced maybe once or twice, but I'm going to go back for more there. Thank you to whoever set that in. Back to the question. I think on the scale of crazy shit that your wife wants to do, this is an easy yes. I mean, I would not put up a fight about this. It's a copper wire to the ground. It's harmless. It's an experience, whatever. My wife likes to go to these, I guess they call themselves psychics or mediums. Basically, these grifters who say they can talk to dead people, see the future, other stupid scams like that. And honestly, I think it's fucking stupid and absolutely torching money, but it's fine. I don't mind. She likes it, whatever. Where I draw the line personally on that one is when she asked me to go too. I say, I'll go, but I will expose these people for the frauds that they are, which I actually think, would be fun. Like sign up for a normal psychic session and just battle them. That would be fun. But anyways, good luck, Anonymous. Good luck with the grounding. Question 6 from Chris Hollandale. He says, stolen from Tim Ferriss. What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life in recent memory? I thought about this for a while, Chris, and unfortunately, I didn't have a great answer. So I'm going to go with a service, not a purchase. My back over the last, 10, 12 years really been giving me problems. I think due to a lot of things, some genetics. Both my father and my grandfather have had spinal stenosis issues, but probably more to do with lifestyle stuff, spent way too many hours sitting at a poker table in my 20s and 30s, sitting in front of a computer screen 60, 70 hours a week for the last decade. I don't think I have like an optimal desk setup for my health, but and hamstring. I think the biggest one, honestly, hamstrings and my glutes are like so weak and not activated. Same with my core. Just relying so much on my back to pull me around is bad. So anyways, I decided to try this one-on-one stretching thing. Basically, it's an hour where someone stretches you. And so they've been focusing on my hips, hamstrings, glutes, and it's actually made a big difference. It feels amazing while they're doing it, while they're stretching me, but then also just not as much back pain. So yeah, they aren't paying me or anything. Not a paid sponsor, but shout out to my friends at Stretch Lab, serious kings and queens over there. Oh, and somewhat related. This was more than $100, going back to the question, but I bought one of those Hypervolt guns. It's like a massage gun, basically. It's super powerful. But man, I put that fucker on my hamstrings, and what a feeling. My God, it's like pain and pleasure in one. It's wild. All right, question 7, last question we're going to do today comes from Tyler. He says, what traveling habits do you find insufferable? I'm curious if we all hate the same things. Shoes off on a plane, talking nonstop, leaning the seat back, rarely trying new cuisine, making no attempt to speak local language, etc. I guess the ones you mentioned, Tyler, are annoying, but they don't really tilt me too much. When I'm traveling, the thing that gets me most steamed up by far is the rental car situation. It's so ridiculous. Like you get off the plane and you have to take a shuttle to the rental car center. I'm already, tired, whatever, but I take the plane, take the shuttle. I get to the rental car center. Somehow the line is always absurdly long. And why is it long? Because somehow, some way, rental car is the only place on earth where you put all your info in when you make the reservation. When you get there, they have to take all that information again. It's so sick. Like you can't just take the information I inputted originally for my address and my driver's license information. It somehow takes 10 plus minutes every single time. It's maddening. So I don't really get tilted too much while traveling. I actually enjoy it. I find it relaxing, but the rental car stuff really sends my blood pressure to the moon. It's really bad. All right. That is going to do it for this solo pod. I'll be back later tonight with Silva for Team by Team. For Bruce Luke, for Evan. I'm Adam. Good luck, everybody.